everyone, it's the old school RN here. Just a quick update. I've literally just read an article from The Guardian about Lucy Letby's case. As people may know, Lucy's barrister has sent her trial to the CCRC to be reviewed because it's probably unsound. Certainly sounds it from the bits I've read and from what's been read from people more expert in this than me. However, today, 1st of July, the Countess of Chester bosses, now it doesn't say who they are or what level they are, it just says 3 bosses from the Countess of Chester, senior bosses. So maybe trust level, maybe the consultants, I don't know. Have been arrested by the police to look at 2 possible charges or 2 possible lines of inquiry. One is corporate manslaughter and the other one is gross negligence manslaughter. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what the difference is, but whatever it is, if these bosses are senior managers that are not clinical, that are not doctors, or at least one of them isn't, say like the chief exec or whatever, I think this is really good news, because what it means is that the decisions that are being taken by managers, particularly financial managers, is going to come back and bite them. If managers are making financial decisions that impact on clinical care of our patients, and especially babies and children, where you've got unsafe staffing levels, grossly underpaid staff where they're going elsewhere because the culture, the pay and the attitude is just so wrong in a given hospital, then working under poor staffing levels is a contributory factor, I would imagine, to manslaughter charges, because if you haven't got enough qualified staff to care for patients in an intensive care facility or critical care or high dependency, whatever, you're opening yourself up to neglect. It's like saying, oh well, we'll fly an aeroplane and we'll just have 1 pilot and 1 cabin crew, it'll be okay. No, it won't. No, it won't, and we know why. Safety's at the heart of all we do, and yet nurses, qualified, experienced nurses, are just being pushed aside as if they're nothing and can be replaced by just anybody. And that's no disrespect to healthcare assistants or nursery nurses or whatever. Everybody contributes, we're a team, but we qualify for a reason. We learn knowledge for a reason. We apply knowledge for a reason. And it isn't just the case of having that knowledge, it's then nurturing your staff to learn experience, to learn how to apply that knowledge and how to think about what happens when something happens that you can't predict, like pneumothorax, air in the chest from babies on ventilators, adults on ventilators. These things happen with very little warning and you can't predict them. And part of your experience as a seasoned nurse is to jump to that, to be on it, to deal with it, to start resuscitative measures and get the help that's needed to take that further and treat the patient. So the fact that, you know, there were very little qualified staff on, particularly at night, which is a very big NHS issue. Nights are considered second rate, you know. Oh, it's only night time, everybody sleeps. No, they don't. Patients are sicker at night. Patients die at night. Patients are in pain and feel pain worse at night. You know yourself, if you're at home, you always feel worse at night. And yet there are fewer facilities and fewer staff around. Same with weekends. Same with bank holidays and Christmas. There's always fewer experienced qualified staff around. So it's quite interesting that the police have done this. Let me just read something. There's a detective superintendent, Paul Hughes, has said that senior leadership and their decision-making processes have been arrested to determine if criminality has occurred. That's not a direct quote, it's bits I've taken from his long speech. The upgrade has been gross negligent manslaughter of individuals, and detectives are investigating the hospital managers who they feel should have done more to act between 2015 and 2016. All 3 are bailed. Now, there's also an add-on that apparently Liverpool Women's Hospital incidents have been looked at as well, from I think 2011, 2012 to 2016. So yeah, so they're widening their investigation, which is all good news, because they can then start, you know, releasing Lucy from incarceration. You know, nurses should not be picked on in this way. If you've got firm evidence that a nurse has done X, Y, Z, absolutely, criminality won't be tolerated. But to turn around and say these nurses are doing X, Y, and Z because of management failures, because of dirty sinks, because of an unhygienic area, because of low staffing, because of poor medical management, you know, 2 ward rounds a week. It's crazy. Never would have happened years ago. This is all corporacy again. Soon as business gets involved to a service, business and service don't go together. It just doesn't. And as soon as you get people in who've got authority without responsibility, the problems start. And I really believe that, you know, Tony Blair and Alan Milburn's creation of NHS trusts back in the early 90s have been a massive factor in this. And I had a nurse tutor who also said this will happen in the future. And this was in the late 80s, when I thought, oh, years away. It's gone quick. He said that if you let business into a service, it will go downhill rapidly, because the changes that are made are going to be about cost, rather than an X amount of money being given to the government for the NHS, and then it's spent by hospitals locally and appropriately. There was nothing wrong with the old system. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. But this hasn't just been broken, it's been dismantled, and it's been interfered with by people who don't know what they're talking about. Healthcare is important to us all. We need it. We do not want an American corporate system in our healthcare. It will be to the detriment of everybody. Even Americans are saying it. And I've got something to come up about the American system, and how there are politicians saying, UK, do not go down this road, because it's been mooted that President Trump may be interested in certain services within the NHS. So we're back to this again. Okay guys, I won't talk too much, because once I get started I'm on my soapbox. It's just interesting, in summary, that these managers have been arrested and bailed, but it's only the first step. We don't know if this is going to go ahead, whether it will make a trial, whether they'll be charged, how that will go, because we know there are lots of background issues going on within the jurisdiction of courts and laws and police and hospitals. You know, there's all kinds of things that can be done for people who want to save their skins and who don't want to admit that business doesn't work in a wonderful NHS service. But you know, it's a bigger problem than I or many of us can deal with. So yeah, I am going to add in how we can circumnavigate this using the private system if you've got pain and things, because I do think we have to work within the real world. Yes, I'm a great advocate for the NHS, but because it is such a big problem, I think you've got to work with what you've got, and I will come to that, because it's important for people's lives. Okay, thank you for listening, and take care. Old School RN over and out.